So just the other day, I had my friend on my show Baloney Basketball, and we were talking about specifically the Charlotte Hornets and what the future holds for them. And he actually bet me a while back that within 10 years from the time we made the bet, that they would win a championship.
Yeah, I think they will. And honestly, it started out as like a silly bet. I bet him $1 that in 10 years, the Charlotte Hornets would win a championship. If they could pick up some players, you never know what's possible. There's a chance, there is a chance.
Yeah.
Something crazy could happen. They could pick up a rookie, any rookie that could carry them in 10 years. That player could develop, into a superstar. So you never know.
Now, I don't really know too much about that, but I thought we could analyze what's next for the Charlotte Hornets. What's going on, guys? SMH Super Mario Hoops back with some more hoops. And today we're going to be talking about the next moves that the Hornets need to make if they want to become a serious threat down the line. So I devised a 5-step process of what they could do, and we're going to go one by one. So the first step that they need to do is they need to try and move Nicholas Batum in the offseason. He is on an expiring deal, and his contract is pretty unfriendly, to say the least. But they can try and make a move for him, and really anything before the deadline would be great. Just for anything would be nice. They also could try to get rid of Bismack Biyombo, and I'm going to include this in step 1 as well. And he should not get anywhere near $17 million that he got last year. And ultimately, if they can't get anything for Bismack Biyombo, because not many people are probably going to be looking to trade for him necessarily, maybe Batum because he does a lot of other good things, but Biyombo, I don't really know too much about that. They could just pretty much not bring him back. Just getting rid of Batum and Biyombo would be the first step, first and foremost. The second step that I have is actually to move on from Malik Monk. Now, I know a lot of Hornets fans are pretty high on Malik Monk still. I know he's had a bit of a rocky start to his career, but he is pretty inconsistent, and especially since his recent suspension, yes, it did get uplifted, but his recent suspension could cause some concern down the line, and really they have other great guards already in the backcourt. Devontae Graham has played nice this season. Terry Rozier, who they just signed to a pretty solid deal, is going to be there for a long time, and they're going to be there for the near future. And they also have other young prospects such as Miles Bridges and PJ Washington that are in more necessary positions than Malik Monk necessarily as a backup guard role. So ultimately, they've been better at this point in their careers than Malik Monk, and they're more necessary. The third step might not really seem like that much of a big one, but it's actually keeping the Martin brothers, and that's Caleb and Cody. Now, I'm pretty high on the Martin brothers. I think that they're both hard-nosed players. Both of them are pretty solid defenders, and they're kind of built for championship cultures. So if the Hornets ever get to that championship level status, they're going to need these guys on the team to help them get there. When it comes to Caleb, he's a really good three-point specialist. He's one of the highest three-point percentages in the league, I believe. And Cody can help facilitate on offense and also run the offense through him at points in the second unit. And like I said, both are really great defenders and are nice for championship level teams. The fourth step that they need to do is they need to sign a big that can play interior defense and stretch the floor. Now, that might be very hard considering this is Charlotte we're talking about. They don't really get too many notable free agent acquisitions. I think one of their most recent ones that was pretty spectacular is probably Al Jefferson, and that was over 5 years ago now. But if they could sign a big that can play interior defense, maybe even trade for one might be the likeliest route to get one, or they could try and go through the draft as well, but they haven't really had much of a great draft history. Because looking at a guy like Cody Zeller, for instance, he is a solid backup and a leader for the team, but I don't think he can be your starting center if you ever want to go places in the NBA. Some people that they could consider, maybe Marc Gasol or Aaron Baines, although some of those guys are a bit older and could be on the decline of their careers, at least for Marc Gasol's sake. So they might want to try and find someone who's maybe a little bit younger, more towards their prime, and someone who could be there for a long time. And those are just some that will be free agents in 2020. And if they can't get them, then maybe they could try the draft, like I said. And the fifth and final step that I have is that this team is surprisingly young. I mean, this isn't really a huge step, but more veterans and some patience is the thing that they need to do. Their average team age is 24.3, which is actually the fourth youngest in the entire league behind the Memphis Grizzlies, behind Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., the Minnesota Timberwolves behind D'Lo, Towns, Malik Beasley, and the Phoenix Suns behind Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. And they're already as close or closer to the playoffs than two of those three teams, the only outlier being the Memphis Grizzlies. And also another thing that they want to have on their side is coaching, which is actually good because James Borrego is a very young coach. He's shown some promise as well. And to put into perspective just how young he is, he's younger than Vince Carter, who, yes, of course, he kind of just retired, but ultimately it is still a pretty nice thing to have. So in conclusion, this Hornets team actually has more promise than probably most people had envisioned. And as long as they make the correct decisions in free agency that are available, and they don't have a major flop on their draft pick, like we know they've picked Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in the past. We know that they've picked Cody Zeller, Noah Vonleh, Frank Kaminsky, Malik Monk, obviously. If they can just make solid draft picks that aren't deemed as busts, then I think that they will be pretty good down the line. And ultimately, they really need a center. I think that's what it all comes down to. I mean, they have Devontae and Terry Rozier in the backcourt. Miles Bridges is young. PJ Washington is young. They just don't really have a young center. Of course, they have Willie Hernangomez down deep on the bench, but is he really going to get playing time? I really don't think so. So ultimately, they need to find someone who will be the center for the future and that they can build around. And like I said, the likeliest route would be for free agency or to go through in the draft, unless they want maybe more wing depth, because they could also improve in that category as well. It'll definitely take some patience, but shouldn't take that much with their backcourt tandem approaching their prime years. I believe both Devontae and Terry Rozier are about 25 years old right now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a bit of a shorter one, I'd say. I'm trying to maybe limit down my time on my videos. Not necessarily always like 10, 12 minutes, but maybe if it's a little bit shorter, I think that's probably fine. Plus, you guys would be more apt to probably listen to them as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that's going to do it for me. I'm out. Peace.